about LinkedIn Local, a little about Urban Place, and then we're going to get right into the workshop. My name is Yoel. I'm a founder and CEO of Wadi Digital. We're a PhD technology agency. We focus on lead generation, predominantly for LinkedIn, Google Ads, and SEO. We're massive LinkedIn advocates, and we're probably the biggest LinkedIn agency in Israel. If you have any questions about digital marketing, lead gen, positioning yourself or your company on LinkedIn or digital media, feel free to come speak to me afterwards. Real fast, where we are, we're in Urban Place. Urban Place is an awesome public place, so you feel free to look around. They have special deals for people that attend. You can go over to the desk to Mr. Ruben over there. He's waving his hand.
Hey everyone, welcome.
If you know anyone that might be looking for a great place to work, I saw they also got like a gym here, which I think is awesome. So you never have to go home. Without any more introduction, I would like to introduce Gilad Newman. Gilad Newman is CEO of Dale Carnegie Israel. By a show of hands, who here has been to a Dale Carnegie event before? Has heard of Dale Carnegie? Okay, so about a third of the room. So we'll definitely have to give a little intro to Dale Carnegie. I'll just speak a little bit the influence that Dale Carnegie has had on my life. He's the writer of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Has anyone heard of that book? How to Win Friends and Influence People? All right, great. So these are one of the books that actually changed the way I view things in my relationships and understanding in order for us as individuals and as organizations, in order for us to be able to move forward in our lives, in our relationships, in our business relationships, we need to be able to have empathy and be able to put ourselves in the position of our prospects, our clients, our spouses, our children, and our friends. So that's basically that's the gist of it. The reason why we're hosting Breaking the Ice with Gilad and Dale Carnegie is so that you can learn when you go to these awkward workshops, we go to these awkward events, and you might want to speak to a prospect or speak to a person, or even here, you're saying, oh, I recognize that person from LinkedIn, I want to go up and speak to him or her. You're not sure how to break the ice. So that's what you're going to learn today. Israelis need to know how to do this without being obnoxious, without being awkward, without being weird, and most importantly, don't be a creep. So without any more introduction, the CEO of Dale Carnegie Israel, Gilad Newman.
Thank you, Yoel. July 2017, I'm at this big convention at the David Intercontinental in Tel Aviv, not far from here. And it's been a long day, and things are kind of feeling a bit silent. I'm like, okay, I've had enough for this conference. I'm out of here. But I say, I need to meet one more person before I go. That's my mission. One more person. And I just walk up to the first person in front of me, and I say, hi, my name's Gilad Newman. What's your name? We start having a quick conversation, and wow, this is really interesting. I don't know what's going on, but this guy can really, he's got an interesting story about him, interesting business. I want to know more. And I say, listen, I'm sorry, I have to go. Is it okay if we continue this over coffee sometime? And he said, sure, we exchanged business cards. And since then, this guy's become one of my closest friends over the past 2 years. And it's helped me a lot, even in my business world. And this was just from that initial first connection. So what we're going to be exploring a bit today is those opportunities we have in life. The fact that I don't believe there are bad events to go to. We know there's tons of meetups and events going on, but there's so many opportunities out there. And some of it just needs to be, see how we can change a few things, put our hands out a bit further and see what can happen as a result of that. So, first of all, this is going to be a bit of a doing session, because otherwise we could just send you that podcast and you didn't have to come here. So we're going to get the experience about what we're doing today. I'm going to ask you all please to stand up. No, sit down. Thank you. Now, I don't know what big business deal in your line is. In our line, a big business deal is if we're working with a company, we sign like an $80,000, $100,000 deal. That's a big, major deal. We're really excited when those happen. Most of the deals are around $10,000, $15,000 with a company. let's say I was coming to meet you, and we're about to sign a major deal. And I'm waiting in the reception for you, and you come and you greet me, and I get up. You really want to sign that deal with me, right? Yeah? Hey, Gilad, there's a check. So, a lot of things have to do with our will and want to do things. It's that attitude. So, in a few minutes, we're going to do some things today, simple things. So, can I ask you at least to pretend you want to do them? Is that okay? Yeah? And when I ask you in a minute to stand, can we do that with some enthusiasm? Is that okay?
Woo!
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, good. So, everybody, please stand. All right, let's go. Now, what we're going to do is just get a bit of a feeling of why we're here today. In a moment, you're going to find another 2 people. That means you're going to be in trial. 3 people. And see, you have like 90 seconds all together, so you've got to speak fast. So the whole 3 people have 90 seconds. What are the challenges you face today when you're meeting new people, whether it be in events, new clients, wherever it is? What are those challenges that we face today? Who's a question? Okay, so we have 90 seconds. So everybody just please find another 2 people and discuss those challenges. Go!
בדרך כלל נועם בלי בב זה יותר בנות. וגם נועם שולחן
מה אישה? השאלה היא גם בישראל. מבחינת אימוץ עכשיו.
Time! Return to seats. So, what are those challenges we're facing? There's a lot of people speaking. Yes, just tell me what your name is. Next to it, Brad.
Hi, my name is Maya.
Maya.
We're talking about different channels to actually approach each person and present yourself. Also,
Okay.
We were saying that the first challenge is actually approaching someone and starting a conversation, and also maybe figuring out which is the right person to approach, like who I can benefit or could benefit me.
Okay, so we've got a few challenges there about how to even make that initial connection. And what does that cause, by the way, Maya?
Sorry?
What does that cause, that hesitation of how to approach? Oh, you can think about that. All right. What else? What other challenges? Yes.
Okay.
What's your name, please?
Me, Romina.
Romina, yes.
Yeah. So I said specifically that for me, I feel like I'm bothering people. So
Okay.
people are doing stuff, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Romina," and it's like, "Okay, where do you come from? Like, why are you here?"
Okay. So that hesitate, it makes us hesitate to
Yeah.
approach. Yeah. All right. Good. So we don't want to bother other people. Okay. Good. Back there. Yeah. Yeah. With the.
Yeah, so most of the events I go to
What's your
are
name, please?
Matan.
What's that? Right.
So most of the events I go to are after work,
Uh-huh.
and the problem isn't necessarily talking with people. It's just having the energy to go up and approach someone after work when
Yeah.
when you just don't have the energy, you don't have the urge to go talk to people, but you sign up for this event and you know it's a good thing for you to go and possibly meet people. And so I find that sort of like the analogy of just jumping into the pool, into the cold water, and just talk to the first person that you meet, and it sort of gives you back the energy.
Anybody else here, by the way, feel that hesitation that after work day, I don't feel like it, yeah? Or in the morning even, maybe, before I eat my coffee. Okay, yeah, okay, good, thank you. Let's take another couple. Yes. Next. Yeah, over there.
Me?
Yeah, what's your name, please?
Adriana.
Adriana.
Yes. My main challenge is to say something interesting in the first few seconds in order to catch the attention to the person that is in front of me and make him willing to continue listening to me.
Okay, so that attention away
Yes.
from whatever they're doing
Yes.
and not feel like we're bothering them.
Right.
Okay, good, thank you, Adriana. And, yes.
I have one more that I didn't
What's
think
your name,
about.
please?
Dorit, sorry.
Sorry?
Dorit.
Dorit, yes.
Yeah, so I think I have a problem knowing when it's time to stop talking with that specific person and move on to the next person. Like the balance between quality and quantity, sort of.
Okay, so, yeah, that's a lot of times we spend a lot of time with one person and don't know if we're
Yeah.
boring them or whatever. Or when, how do we cut it short? How do we move on? Definitely. So let's take one more. Thank you, Dorit. And what's your name, please? Yoel.
I hate talking with people at events
Uh-huh.
that think that I'm a prospect.
Okay.
That when they approach me or when I approach them, okay, I feel it's a little bit different. I'm not. A lot of people think that they come to sell themselves, not necessarily.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is when I start talking to someone and I feel as if I just became a prospect.
Okay.
It's a challenge because it's a real challenge.
Yeah, because we don't feel like that we're suddenly we got that sign bullseye on our, I got somebody, and we're trying to sell that person. Because people, by the way, don't like to be sold anything. We like to buy. We don't like to be sold. So when we get that feeling, it definitely affects us. So with all these challenges, there are probably more going around, but what we're going to explore today is find ways that we can even break those barriers and find those situations. Has anybody here, by the way, been to an event where you didn't know anybody and or you walk into an event like this even? What do you do? What's the first thing you do when you walk into an event? Get something to drink, yeah, definitely, that's one way. What else would you do after that?
Like stroll the room and see what's.
Yeah, what are we looking for?
Someone you know.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, Mark! Yeah, funny fun, how you doing? And we've known each other, haven't seen him for so long, and I'm stuck with Mark all day. I'm safe. Thank God. Whew, I know something. But, thank you, Mark. But what happens when Mark's not there? What do I do?
You actually get to know somebody else. I mean,
We might do that. Or somebody said, go and get a coffee, go and get if it's an evening event, we're even going to go and get a beer or something like that. And then, we're standing there and we got the cup in our hand. And, we're like, hey, how you doing? And, I'm busy, and it's okay. And if it's, if there's alcohol involved, it's even better. I'm feeling much better with myself because I've already cooled my nerves. And then what happens?
I usually sometimes what I'm used to do lately. I mean,
Yeah.
the last 2 years or so, we talk and sometimes we find a mutual subject, and then we sign and we invite one another on LinkedIn via the app.
Yeah, sometimes we
And
do
then, and also sometimes if we feel it's something like more closer, and we have something,
Yeah.
they'll give me his email, or I will give him, and
Sometimes we do that. A lot of times we just stick to the food and the coffee and maybe get some acquaintance there, and then we just talk a real basic conversations. You know, wow, traffic was terrible getting here today. Oh my God, and the weather out there is, and it just doesn't get anywhere, and there's no interest there. So what we're going to explore today is ways of making that connection a lot quicker, opening up, breaking that ice, so we can get to understanding that we have a connection, we have something to do from here on. Or maybe we might not, but see what happens. How does that sound to you? Good? Yeah. All right. By the way, who here would like to improve their memory skills? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to combine both of these things together. So what I'm going to ask everybody, we said we got that standing up with enthusiasm going for us. So we're going to ask everybody to please stand up. Does this place have insurance? Try and do it so everybody can see. I've done this before. Shana Achrayut, okay, hopefully. Just so we can see each other. What we're going to do now is going to learn a bit of a memory technique and see how that can help us break the ice. So imagine a huge business card, you know, like one we're handing each other, with your name on it, which is about the size of this room. And out of that business card comes a 2-story house with a red rooftop. Out of the door stands a kid, opens the door, stands a kid wearing school uniform. And he runs to a red sports car which drives away. So now we're going to do it all together. So in order for this to work, we've got to say the words and we've got to animate them. That's the way we can remember and improve our memory skills. So let's do it together. What's the first thing we had, everybody? Together, we got to do. What's the first thing we had?
Business card.
Big. Okay, we got to all say it together. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So what do we have? We have big business card. Okay, coming out of it was a
2-story
house with a
red building.
Okay, and out of the door stands a
Kid.
kid. What's he wearing? School uniform. What's he do? Everybody together. What's he do? Runs. Where does he run? Red sports car. What's the red sports car do? Drives off. Everybody, come on. Drives off. You got to do that. Otherwise, I can fly off here. So everybody drives off. Okay. Go back into the house. In the house, we've got a chimney. A laptop comes out. The chimney opens up, touches a airplane that was flying by. And on one side of the airplane, there's a huge tennis racket on one wing, and on the other one, a light bulb. Okay, so what's the first thing we had right at the beginning? Everybody, what's the first thing we had? Everybody! Big business card. Coming out of it?
2-story house.
Okay, and with the red roof. Out of the house comes a school uniform. What's he do?
Run to the red car.
What's he do? Drives off. Go back in the house. Out of the chimney comes a
Laptop.
What's it do?
Hand
Plane. Okay, and on one wing of the plane is a and on the other one? Okay, what's the last thing we had? Light bulb. On the other wing we had a which was on a airplane, which was touching a
Laptop.
came out of a in the house. Okay, and next to the house was a drove away. Everybody together. What did it drove away? Okay, in it was sitting a child. What was he wearing? Okay, where did he come out from? Okay, 2-story house and red roof. Okay, and that came out from
A business card.
business card. Okay, what we're gonna do now? We're gonna pair off with a partner, and we're gonna have like 60 seconds to relive this whole stack together, and then we're gonna see how that can work for us in these meetups and events. Good question. So we're gonna do the whole thing again. If you finished, do the reverse, but relive it. All right. Find a partner. You've got 60 seconds. Go. Okay, you're gonna say it loud. Say it loud.
Business card, and then it's children's house with red roof. Then a kid came out, and then he had a school uniform, and then he ran away to a red sports car, drove off. Oh my God, I'm really good at it! And
I don't really like I think I speak three languages. I speak three languages, and I already don't know which language I speak. But I think
Okay, time. Everyone, take a seat. Everybody, let's sit down. Okay, go sit down. Okay, I see you sit down with enthusiasm as well. Cool. All right, we need one volunteer who will just demonstrate this stack for us. Who's volunteer? One volunteer. Okay, good. What's your name, please? Yeah. What's your name? David. David, okay. So welcome you up. Okay. What? Yeah, okay. Okay, so what the first thing we had? Go.
The first thing we have is we have a big business card with all my info on it.
Okay, and coming out of it?
After that, coming out of it, we have a two-story house.
Okay.
With a red roof.
Okay.
Outside of that comes a kid in a school uniform.
Okay, what's he doing?
What does he do? We blast straight out of there.
All right.
Goes to a red sports car.
Okay. Okay.
Besides that.
Okay. Red sports car,
Red
yeah?
sports car, and then after that, there's a chimney with a laptop coming out of it.
Okay,
after
good.
that, an airplane hits it, and there's a tennis racket on one side and a light bulb on the other side.
All right. Thank you, David. So, how do you do?
Great.
Yeah? How do you know?
Because we remember the same
Oh, you remember as well. Good. Okay, so let's see why do we do this? This is, by the way, called a memory stacking technique, where we take different objects, hook them together, everything's touching, coming out from moving, and so you can create these stacks for whatever things you want to remember. Usually it processes or something you need in a chronological order. So say we get to an event, and what was the first object we had? Business card. What sort of questions does that represent when we meet somebody for the first time? Yeah? Before that, maybe what would we ask? Yeah, your name. What's your name? What sort of name is that? Where's that name from? Those kind of questions. What's the second thing we had after the name tag? House. Okay, what sort of questions does that represent?
What do you think?
Where you're from? Yeah, maybe where you're working. Where do you live? Those kind of questions. Third thing we had after the house? That was part of the house. We had the
Child.
child, yeah. What sort of questions does that represent?
Family.
Family, yeah. Do you have family? Those kind of things. Now, here is an important thing to pay attention. It's not only what we ask, it's how we ask. Because I could be at an event and I meet this woman there and I'm like, so you got a boyfriend? And that doesn't work so well. So it's not only what we ask, and we've got to also be aware that in some, like in America, people don't necessarily in the first meeting want to talk so much about family or personal things, so we have to be also aware of some of those things. In Israel, pretty much, we meet somebody, so what's your name, how much you're making, and how much you're So, again, each culture has their own understanding. After that kid, what did we have? Ready to go? Sports car, yeah. What sort of questions does that represent? What car do you drive? How did you get here today? Was it by car, by kokinet, by bicycle, whatever it was? How did you get here? How do you travel? What's the next thing we had? Coming out the chimney was the laptop. Yeah. What sort of questions does that represent? Yeah. What do you do for a living? Where do you work? How did you get that job? And those kind of questions. Next thing we had, hitting the laptop was the
Airplane.
airplane. What sort of questions did that represent? Yeah, do you travel for business? Where do you want to go this summer? Where have you been? Those kind of questions. Next thing we had, Tennis racket. What sort of questions could that represent?
Hobbies?
Hobbies, yeah. What do you like to do? Do you like sport? Or what do you like to do when you're not working? And finally, we had the
Light bulb.
light bulb. In cartoon language, what does light bulb represent?
Ideas.
Idea. Yeah, so any idea for questions or whatever that happens when, from the conversation that comes up, a spark, or to lead us to anywhere that conversation went. So this is what we call a stack, where we can come into a situation where we meet somebody, we can start asking different questions. Do we have to ask all these questions? No. Do we have to ask them in this order?
No.
No. This is just a template to help us come in and say, so what am I going to say? What am I going to ask them? We have something to work with. Now, a few more rules when we ask some questions. We want to get to know people. If I approach somebody and I ask them, introduce myself, and then want to start having a conversation. So, what sort of questions do you think would be better to use? There's open-ended questions or closed questions. Which one should we use? Open? No. Why? Okay. So, more open. Let's try that out then. Okay. Open the conversation up. What?
Depending by your word.
Well, let's try it. See what happens. Okay. So, hi. What's the? Yeah, you stand up. What do you like the most about where you live? Okay. Okay. And why do you like the beach? By the way, was that an open-ended question? Okay. Open. Okay. Now the next one. What do you like about living next to the beach?
Louder.
All right. So I've got some information about who this person is and kind of log that information in my processor. Okay. Now, what don't I know? Last name. What else don't I know? I know I live near the beach, but what don't I know?
If you can swim or not.
I don't know. I don't know where he lives. I only know he lives next to a beach somewhere. I don't know where he lives, but I don't know his name. So, those questions are friendly because they're easier to ask. So, if you want to get a conversation going, you'll start with some closed-ended conversation and then open up the conversation. For example, hi, my name is Gilad Newman. What's your name? Hi, Yoel. Where do you live? I live in Zichron. What do you like about living in Zichron? Okay. And what do you like about living next to the beach? Okay. Well, what's nice about the different seasons? What do you do in the summer? What do you do in the winter? Okay, what does that do for you, having those strolls or swimming? Thank you very much. Okay, so what was the difference here? Some more information.
More specific.
Yeah. Okay, did you see a smile when we were talking? Yeah, so there was more. Okay.
I think you very also my name, what's your name, and it was more like listening.
Okay. There's a lot more listening going on. Who's, yeah. Yeah.
Let's say this is a networking event professional.
Yeah.
Why do I want to know where you like to be? And does that help me professionally?
We'll keep that question for about 7 or 8 more minutes. Then ask that. Okay. So now, by the way, did you notice what I was doing when I'm asking the questions? Smiling. And one thing I was doing was using his answers as part of my next question. So Shmuel said he's from Zichron. I said, okay, so what do you like about Zichron? And he said, I like the beach. So what do you like about living next to the beach? I like being
able to, whatever season it is. So I'm using, every time I'm using part of his question, as his answer as part of my question. What does that tell him? That you're listening. Interested, I'm listening. Is that something that Shimon would like to have more of that conversation? Okay. So this is where we talk about breaking that ice. So we use part of the next question, but then we use answer for the next question to help move on the conversation. Now, let's do another one more thing before we get that. Apart from the parking there, which is really terrible, and I hate driving down that road because there's no place for me to park. Now, what's just happened?
Yes.
Yeah. And Mark's standing there, and I can see his face. He's going, so what the hell you asked me that question for? If all you want to do is talk about yourself. Have you ever had that where we maybe do that, or somebody else thank you, Mark, hijacks that conversation back? You know, so where you from? New York. Oh wow, New York. I love New York. Amazing. I'm going to be there in the summer. Who cares? Yeah, we're focusing on the other person. How we get that connection. Focus on other people. Yoel Carnegie said, by the way, you can make more friends in 2 months by being genuinely interested in them than in 2 years by trying to get people to be interested in you. Because what do really people care about? Themselves, yeah, and that's fine, that's okay. So we give that opportunity for them, and we be that person that listens to them. Sorry? It becomes much easier for us to find interesting things to talk about them and find a quicker sort of mutual base for us to talk about. So it's about, if we focus on them, and we've got to practice this, we've got to do that. So at the beginning it might be a bit challenging, but later on, once we get more familiar with the process, it becomes part of us. When we're genuine and we're interested in them, we're able to stir the conversation to move the conversation forward. But initially, we just want to even break that ice and make that initial connection. Then they want to have a conversation with us. A lot of times they're like looking for somebody else, they're looking for their friends, they're looking for whatever, they're looking in their phones, they're looking whatever. So we need to get them out of there and so they want to talk to us. And if we get to ask them questions, focus on them, again, it's not an interrogation. So, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? No, that's not it. It's building some sort of base for us to connect forward. Does that answer the question? That's our bit. Maybe if we practice it a bit, we might see. Do 2 questions? Then yeah, we'll do this way. Yeah, what's the name again?
Shira.
Shira, yeah.
It's actually like a thought, not a question. So sometimes when I meet a person and like professional meetup or event, I don't know, something like professionally meetup.
Yeah.
But then when we start talking, we find a mutual subject like sports, like
Okay.
so we connect on the second level via some other something we both like.
Yeah. If we find something that's connecting us, we like the same, if I've got somebody who likes the same football team as me, if you're a Man United fan, you must be a good person. Whatever you do in the world, I know that in my heart. So we already have some sort of connection between us. just because of that, if we're maybe from the same city or did something, we find we try to find as much mutual ground as we can, because that the more we know that person or feel that connection. You know, somebody else works in, we work in an urban place in New York and in Jerusalem, and he works here. We have a connection because we're in the same environment. So we are in marketing, I'm in marketing, we're in the same field. So finding those mutual ground. Okay, and same style of hair, yeah.
So obviously, a close question of like, what's your name is obviously something you have to ask straight off the bat. But then, do you feel that like asking more open-ended questions kind of just like leads the conversation, to put more open field and less interrogation?
Well, we need a few closed-ended questions to give us a sort of base to open up the conversation. Okay? So those are just, and we can put them in here and there. What we're going to do now is we're going to practice this using this stack. See, with other people, we're in a moment when I say we're going to stand, find another partner, somebody we don't know. Okay? Not the person you came with or you met. Find somebody you don't know. And we're going to have 2 minutes each. And here are the rules. They're very simple, but pay attention. There's one person in those 2 minutes whose job is to ask the questions. And the other person's job is to answer them. Okay? Very simple. When you're asking questions, use that, start with closed, open up, see what happens, and you've got a stack, see which parts work for you. You might go into just the name of the person, you can have a 2-minute conversation on that. That can happen. So see where that leads you. But you've got a stack to work with. Look at that person and try and use part of their answer as your question, as the next question, as the lead on to the next question. And the people who are answering at that time, the only thing you're doing is just answering, and the people who are asking questions, you're only asking questions. You're not telling your story. You'll have 2 minutes afterwards to do that. And the person who's answering, be friendly. So if somebody asks you a closed-ended question, answer. And if somebody else asks an open-ended question, give them the information. Open up, see what happens when you do that. Okay, here's a question about what we're doing now. I'm going to time you, so you have 2 minutes each. So when the first person's time's up, I'm going to say time, and then you're going to reverse roles with the same person. Okay? So, everybody please stand, find a partner, somebody you don't know.
I guess it's you and me, buddy.
Hey, man.
Yeah. How are you? Hi.
There you go, even better.
Nice to meet you too. What's your name? Sorry, my name is Rob. You're going to ask me questions or me? So please go ahead.
So, Noam, you said?
Mom.
And what do you live?
I live in Ramat Gan.
Oh, wow. How long have you been living here?
About a year ago.
Do you like it?
Sometimes they do and sometimes but it's pretty central, like pretty close to most places.
Do you like being in Texas? What do you like about it?
Well, I originally came from the north, so for me seeing all those street lights and cars and buildings, for me it's like, oh my god, I made it.
Do you live in your family though?
I live with my wife.
Oh,
What's her name? Her name is Gilad. She's one of a kind.
And why did you decide to come to Wisconsin?
Actually, I moved from the 10 years ago, studying the IBC.
Oh.
I came with a friend. The rest is history, I guess.
What did you study?
Mass communication, how do you say it, political, how to convince people,
Okay. And do you want it? Do you want it? Well,
security. business card. I'm always ready. You can tell all your friends in LinkedIn. Give me a call at Rusty Security.
And how does that connect to your
Okay, time! Reverse roll second. You've got 2 minutes. Go!
Okay. Yes. I'm legally with Fiona. I live in the yes.
American man of Fiona.
Yeah.
I married my wife.
And now I live in the Sharon. Oh, the Sharon.
Good restaurant.
What is your favorite thing about חברה קטנה, בנו איתי.
So, who heard something interesting? Okay. Efrat, what do you hear?
I met Siti.
Okay.
She works for Gloves, and we had a really nice conversation about kids, about work, about.
So you see, with just that smile, you got some mutual ground there.
And they call me Smiley Face a lot.
Who else heard something interesting? Everybody raised their hand before. So. Yes.
Moises.
Moises?
I met Mira,
Okay.
who's actually quite famous on LinkedIn for those of you that don't know. And I got to understand a little bit how somebody from the younger generation, if I may, is involved in this platform, which is geared towards nothing to do with having white hair or not having white hair, but having to do with, do you know what I mean? Like, so to speak, more of the millennial generation.
Yeah.
And she still owes me the answer.
You still got something to continue that conversation afterwards. So, what do you see happening when you're having those kind of conversations? How'd that work? How did that work, having those kind of conversations? What do you see happening? Yeah. David, right?
Yeah. Building rapport.
Okay. You got some connection with somebody, something to work with. Great. Okay, thank you. And Romina, yeah.
I think there was some kind of excitement, but maybe it's because we were expecting questions. But we were like, oh, who are you? Like, it was like fun.
All right. And the conversation, as I heard, there was a lot of noise going on, so it wasn't hard to get that conversation and that you're bothering somebody or anything like that. You're talking about them. So people like when we talk about them. Usually, do we get that? People are really interested in us? Not really. Okay, one more. What else was the value for you of doing this exercise?
I found that it's really hard. It's really hard that you can't ask me questions.
It's hard to ask questions?
No, when you don't ask questions.
When you don't ask questions, it's hard. Okay. So being the person answering?
Yes.
Okay.
Just answer.
Well, sometimes we remember to combine those two. But here we're working also on being listening, active listeners to other people, finding more about them. It's the base. Yes.
For me, the hardest part is the beginning, choosing the first question. Because after the person start answering, you start the conversation, and as you said, you actively listen, so the following questions they can very easily.
So that's why we have a stack. We can work with that. You can create your own stacks later on, whatever works for you. This just gives us a base where we don't say, what am I going to say? We have something to work with. A few more things. So as we saw, what happens when we focus on other people? What does that do to them, by the way? When we focus on the other person? Flatters them, yeah, makes them feel important. So we focus. One thing we should be doing. We should be doing that, practicing that listening. We have about two of these, one of these. So I don't know if that's the biological reason, but just stands to reason that we should be doing about 2 times more listening than actual talk. And a lot of times we go to events, we meet the old friends, and we talk about the army, and we talk about this, or where we came from, childhood, and we were in the high school together. And we go to new events, that's the place. If I go with somebody I know, I say to them at the entrance, have a good day, see you later. I'm going to meet new people. And most of my time is just meeting new people. That's why I spend most of the time. You never know what's happened. The other person, I can have a coffee with him any day. So this is where we meet other people. And make sure if we said we're going to connect and have that conversation or have that coffee, and we've taken that business cards. Does anybody here have like this big pile of business cards on their desk? And they're like, I said I was going to call him, and we had a really good conversation, and it's just piling up, and then comes Pesach, and we're like, well, what I do with it? Maybe I'll just move it a bit to the side, and then I'll come back to it after Pesach. No, that's not Pesach. It's after the summer. So make sure you make that quick follow-up. Quick email, if you said you're going to meet, call them up the next day. Take that 10, 15 minutes. Make those appointments. Because that's how you keep that momentum going. Otherwise, if you had something that could work together for an extra meeting or who knows where, make a follow-up. And that's how you can build more relationships and expand making that follow-up. And they're not going to call you, most of them. Actually, I had one person this week who said she's going to call me the next day. She didn't have a business card, and I think it's the first time in a year that somebody actually did that. But that's an exception. So make sure you get their details. They don't have a business card. Connect to them on LinkedIn. I just learned from Mira, who's a Generation Z like me, that on LinkedIn you have an opportunity to scan somebody's details, and you can just click together. So we're now connected on LinkedIn. So
teach me.
Sorry?
I'll show people how to do that after.
All right, good. So for me, it was worthwhile coming today because I learned that. So thank you, Mira. But so make sure you find a way to connect. Get their phone number, whatever it is. If
Todd.
you don't have a business card, you should have your business card,
Todd.
or someone connects you. If you don't, make sure you have something to connect. And finally, just a few things about Dale Carnegie. We're an international organization now spread in 88 countries. Founded in 1912. 1 second. You had a question. You know what? We'll go for the question first. You had a question, right? Yeah. What's your name again, please?
Todd.
Todd? Yeah. What's the question?
So as before, what's the purpose of these
less professional questions in a professional meetup. Like if I use the example from a conversation we just had, we spoke personal, which was nice and friendly, but time ran out and I didn't get to understand the business side of things, which is why I came to a professional meetup versus a singles dating event.
Well, in order to get to the professional, we need to have some sort of connection and trust first. And if
isn't there a challenge?
Hi, Todd. Listen, I see what would be really good for you. We have a great course for you to take, and I'll tell you about it. It's starting in August. It's a 3-day program. What are you doing? What are you thinking?
On one hand, I'm thinking you're trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I got more value out of that than learning that you like to go sunbathing on the beach.
Will you ever buy a course from me? Probably not, with this kind of
I'm not sure I
conversation.
agree.
If
Because
we
right
have-
now I don't know what she does.
I'll tell you
I ran
something.
out of time. So.
People buy from people they like. You can complicate that a bit. But if we don't have a base, we don't have trust, we don't have a connection, we might sometimes get a sale.
So how do you balance the personal questions and the business questions when you're in a situation where there's a time limit?
Well, that's why you get, somebody else also asked that was it Dorit? You asked that question? How long to talk with somebody? Generally speaking, we do in Dale Carnegie, I think I'll answer all those questions together. We do today courses in public speaking, management, sales, human relations, connecting people, helping people move to the next level. We do that today in 88 countries, over 9 million graduates since 1912. With all these programs we do for management, for sales and everything, what do you think I sell? What's my biggest seller? You know, in public speaking, presentation skills, sales, leadership, communication. What would you say is my biggest seller? What do I sell most days? What do you say? Sorry? Connections, trust. Nobody ever said a product here. Any of the products? Most days what I sell is a cup of coffee. That's my biggest seller. I meet somebody, I want to get a meeting with them. So my conversation is geared to find that we have some base to continue that conversation, and that we should maybe meet out of all these people, because there's too many things going on. We can't really have a meaningful conversation and then go and have a coffee somewhere the next day, and then we can hear from each other, what do you do, what do I do, is there a place for us to move together? Maybe we might just be friends, or we might never meet again. That could be as well. But sometimes we might find mutual ground. You might be able to help me, I might be able to help you. But that's how we build it.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I actually got a lot more conversation because I think I asked most questions and I was really aiming for something, and I would like to talk to you further. Maybe let you ask me some questions.
So, yes.
I was just going to add.
What's your name, please? Just
Hadas.
Hadas, yeah.
I was just going to add, because you can bend the rules. In other words, yeah, you have 2 minutes, etc., etc. We were able not only to accomplish really the task at hand, but I certainly learned about what was going on in his life, what his profession was, what his occupation is, and he also learned about me. So if you bend the rules and go a little bit out of the boundaries, push yourself a little bit to get what really you're trying to get.
Yeah. Your turn. And that's why, by the way, we have questions of where do you work, what do you do. So, and we have the light bulb. So if something leads us to God knows where about something that, you know, he says, hey, listen, I need a presentation course because I need to find an investor, you know, it's already there. So those light bulbs, at the end of the day, that's where we aim for, to find something that's moving us. But first we got to break that ice, have that base connection.
Also, if you're short on time, you can take out your calendar and try to book another meeting and continue the conversation on the phone when it works for them. And if you can schedule it on the spot instead of saying, I'll email you, you definitely know you're going to continue the conversation and you have a place to pick up from where you left off.
And just one last thing, yeah? What's your name, please?
Hi.
You too.
My question is what if you are a multi-skilled person? It means like you have several jobs and you do several different things.
Yeah.
How do you know, you don't want to, you know, put all at once on the one person and then they get confused and they don't know who you are, what you do. How can you tell what it is that you're going to talk about and with whom if you haven't heard from them first?
Okay, so if we do a lot of things, we're very involved in many things. If I understand your question correctly, what do we choose to talk about?
It's not just what do we choose to talk about, it's how do we present ourselves.
So first of all, that's why I'll usually start asking the questions, because I want to find out a bit more about them so I know where maybe I can connect to them. So maybe I find they're into community work and I do a lot of community work, so we can find a connection there. Maybe they're in high tech and I work with high tech, so that's one way of doing that. The other way is just pick a topic. Don't say, so I do this, and people are like, oh my god. So just pick one, whatever you feel
So
could be the most relevant.
I feel people feel like overwhelmed when I do.
That's why I usually try and ask the questions first. We say, generally speaking, people maybe not like it, but those who ask the questions control the conversation. But we're here, we're trying to build something together, break an ice. So generally if I'm having a conversation start, and finally, pretty quickly I find people start asking me different questions. So, but it comes from that genuine place where I'm really interested in them, then we're able to make connection. If we're not, and we're looking at our phone or doing other things at the same time, they read it very quickly and they don't buy. So we have to be genuine as well. That's what people buy. That's how we create trust. Just final last things. Dale Carnegie wrote a book. I don't know if you've heard of How to Win Friends and Influence People. We don't sell it. I mean, it comes in our programs. And there he related to 30 principles of building relationships. So we're just going to go over quickly, just to glance at a few that might also be helpful for us when we're connecting with people. So the first one is don't criticize, condemn, and complain. We talked about at the beginning that attitude, you know, what happens when we meet somebody and we see somebody who's got a positive attitude about them, or somebody, what do you see when somebody's criticizing or negative? What do you do when you see those kind of people?
You run away.
Run away, yeah. You don't close up. Close up. We don't want to be next to those people. But if you got somebody who's more positive and he's somebody who, yes, we can, or whatever.
But a lot of people really like to complain, and it makes a great connection when you complain about something. Complaining about the weather. People,
yeah, we can open a support group. But is that is that really is that somebody we feel that would like to really work with, or somebody who's got that positive, yeah, I'm happy about this, and you know, just a positive demeanor, because when we don't criticize, condemn, and complain, doesn't mean never, but generally speaking, have a positive attitude. It enables us to do other things, like giving appreciation. Is anybody here has had too much appreciation or compliments in their life? Yeah? No. A lot of times people don't like to give them or don't know how to give them. But if you see somebody doing something good, just tell them about it. Say, yeah, you did a great job, and this is why. If you tell them why, they'll really respect you. So find those opportunities. You'll see what happens. Recently, I gave one of the Dale Carnegie trainers who trained me in the sales program a compliment. I said how much he influenced me in some of the things he taught us. And that same day, I got an email back from him saying, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We never know how much we get through when we train other people. You made my day. How do you think I was feeling at that moment? say, well, I can't remember names? Yeah, because most of the time you weren't listening. You were thinking about yourself or what would I say. So concentrate on them. Remember their names. What does that do to you when people remember your name? What does that do? Efrat, what does that do when people remember your name?
It makes me feel significant and important.
Yeah. Okay. We just met this morning, by the way. It's not really the first person here. So we're already friends just because of that. Be a good listener. We said how important it is to listen to other people, talk about things that they're interested in. When I talk to my wife about football, I see her eyes going, looking for a window to jump out of. So if we want to have a conversation, it's not going to happen. Same thing in business. Find mutual ground, things we can talk about. And if we do all these things, then we make them feel important. And if we do that generally, that's where that trust, and then people want to work with us and build that connection. So these are just a few things that we can do to help our connection with other people build, and it's a relationship. Everything we do, even in sales, it's a relationship. And the more we nurture it, and it's not a one-time event, but we start breaking that ice, building, then we're able to move forward. So, finally, questions?
Where do you live?
Where do I live? Another question is where do I live? Today I live in Ra'anana.
How can we learn more? What does Dale Carnegie Israel do beyond go around and speak?
To learn more, best way really is I've got business cards here. I'll be happy to connect with you with LinkedIn. These are my details, by the way. So feel free to take those numbers and please call me. I'm here also. I can talk after the event now. You can also go on our website, obviously. We have many, many programs, and Ronen here, sorry I didn't even mention, from our team, is also a trainer back there with the white shirt, is also in our biz dev, so you can speak to him or to myself. We have also public programs, by the way, for youth in the summer. I always say I wish I would have known a Dale Carnegie when I was in high school and had the sense to take a Dale Carnegie course. I probably wouldn't have had that sense. But I see what happens when youth build themselves in an earlier age. It really rockets them forward. And other programs as well, public speaking, presentation skills, sales, any area. People say soft skills, but now we talk about essential skills. This is where business happens when you connect to other people. That's where business lives. So whatever you're in high tech, LinkedIn, hey, everybody's in LinkedIn and other things, it's all about connecting. And actually, I had a question here earlier about how to connect with other people on LinkedIn, or if you want to meet them. A lot of times people will pitch you and say, hey, Gilad, we've got this new great product. I would really like us to meet because I've got something that I really think that would be great, and I. Please, anytime you connect with other people, Yoel, I hope you agree with this, never start selling your product to them and talking about yourself, because we don't care about you.
Actually, an example, if you got your phone, go to LinkedIn, if you happen to see that we're actually streaming this live, someone tries to spam the comments, not here, they're in the third world.
Great example to demonstrate what you shouldn't be doing is try to force yourself and your interest into other people's interests and into their conversation and into them. What you should do instead is you should try to get other people's ideas and be asking about them so you can then incorporate it.
So my focus also when I contact other people is it's about them, because I really want to hear about them and what they do and have that connection, have that conversation one way by phone or by email, and you never know where that's going to lead. So just focus on the other people. That's the main message. And when you do that, it brings a lot of things back. So move to them. And that's what you do in marketing as well. We should do that with ourselves. Before we end, first of all, I want to say thank you for Urban Place for hosting us. It's first time for me here, and really good feeling actually in this place. I like it. I think I'll be back. And thank you Yoel and his team at Wadi Digital for exposing me to a great group of people and to
LinkedIn Live and other things which I never knew about, and it's our second event together, and I'm looking forward, if you want, for another one. But thank you.
So guys,
One second, and thank you for taking the time. Your busy days, you're the most important thing, and investing in yourself, because that's what we should be doing all the time. So appreciate your participation and engagement here. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Gilad. All right, so now that we actually got to break the ice and get to know each other, and before we go, there's a happy hour. I hear there's Grey Goose and jelly shots, right, and all kinds of good old beer pong after in the other room, right? Upstairs. Okay, so there's a happy hour after. But first, everyone take out your phones and go. Why don't you go to LinkedIn? Let me show you some of these features we were talking about how to connect with people. First, open up the app. Make sure your GPS is turned on, and then when everyone's in, let me know. Then on the bottom, when you're at the home screen, on the bottom left, there should be a picture of two people, right? Kind of, that's your network tab. Go to that network tab. Anyone have any trouble getting there? No? All right. Then on the top in the center, it says Find Friend, Find Nearby, off. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Click that. And now give it a second. Now what you're going to find is the person that you were just speaking to, including other people in the room, we're going to be able to connect with. So let's see here. We got, where's Todd's right here. I see Todd. Dorit. Hey, Dorit, raise your hand. Right? She has some questions, you can see. So this is a way, and on the right, if you're already connected with them, I see Aviva, Nir, you can message them or you can straight up add them. So this is a great way to connect. And this is how so you can find the connection. I know as people enter this, people might move around. Feel free to connect with me also. I'm very active on LinkedIn. For those that, just a couple final notes. For those that aren't aware, LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv, it's actually part of a greater international movement of bringing people that we know together, that we know on LinkedIn, that we didn't connect with in person. Let's meet in person. Let's grow our relationship. This is probably this is our 4th or 5th event. I'll make sure to let you guys know about other events. If you're registered, I'll send emails about other ones. We probably do them about once every 2 to 3 months. If you have any questions about our meetup, LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv, anything else about LinkedIn, lead generation, and digital marketing, you can come up to me. My name is Yoel Israel. And you can come up to Avner. Final round of applause for Gilad Newman of Dale Carnegie. And to Urban Place, thank you, Urban Place. And feel free to go talk to Mr. Rubin over if you have any questions about renting the space here. Thank you, and we'll see you at the next LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv event. And make sure to use the LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv hashtag when taking pictures and sharing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. What? Tel Aviv, LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv, hashtag LinkedIn Local Tel Aviv. Thank you.